starting from the top.
You are listening to 88.7 WLUW Chicago. This is Running on Punk Rock and Roll, and I am the one and only One Trick Tony. Today in the studio we have Fast Decay. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Hessa. I play drums.
I'm Leo. I play guitar.
I'm Jordan. I play bass guitar.
All right, so how did you guys start? What did you guys meet?
Actually, 15 years ago, roughly. Hessa and I met in a previous band, and we've been playing ever since. Jordan came on board a couple months ago. He reached out to us. He's actually recording our second EP, which hopefully we'll have done by the end of the year and maybe ready to for listening early next year.
So what was it like when you guys first met? You just get together, you'd be like, hey, you want to play some rock and roll, meet at a show?
What happened, Leo and myself were taking a Turk class at the MCA. Yeah, the museum.
Yeah.
of Contemporary art. And I said, hey, you look cool. Should we just make history?
I said, I don't know, man. It's a little too much pressure, but you convinced me.
I said, well, I'm pretty much suck at twerking, so we should just kind of try to form a band, a rock and roll band.
Yeah, because you don't really need to know how to play rock and roll.
No, I can't play rock and roll either.
Yeah, it's all moods and being upset at everything.
Yeah,
It's all about expression.
Yep.
pretty much, yeah.
Coming out, real creativity comes out of making a mess. That's what I've always believed.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, I believe that too.
Just throw yourself into the mix and see what happens.
So how would you describe your sound? Like, I was listening and I hear a lot of garage, a lot of punk, and do you guys try to go for any specific sound? Do you just see what comes out?
Yeah, it's just we've been through a lot in different genres, and this kind of project, I guess, that we're doing now with Fast Decay just kind of felt natural. So when Hess and I started playing together, we started off with directions, what we wanted to do, but it got kind of tiresome trying to do something that wasn't feeling as natural, or just trying to do things that wasn't, trying to get into the pop sound and try to stick to just pop, and trying to do psychedelic music also, and it was all good. It all sounded great and it was fun. But this version of our project, Fast Decay, came natural. It's just we didn't talk about what we wanted to do. We just kind of got together, jammed out, spit out all the songs we could within an hour, and we would record them and try not to overthink it. So everything was less planned, a lot more spontaneous. We recorded every session, and after like a week or so, we would pick a couple tracks, and that became the band. Just us doing random stuff that just seemed to go together.
So who writes the songs? You guys do it together? Or?
Yeah, we pretty much get together and just write the songs together. Literally on the album, it's going to be all songs written by Fast Decay. There's everyone has their own take. That's the beauty of being spontaneous. We get together and everyone's got their own background, their own history with music, interests and stuff, and it comes out. And we get along so well that we're able to make it into a song. No.
Well, Leo says he writes the lyrics, but I believe he just borrows them from old Oprah transcripts.
Oprah?
Yeah.
Is this true, Leo? Leo, Leo,
It's
you're
just
on
a
the spot.
suspicion. I'm not totally sure.
Hey man, that's a secret of mine. Why did you disclose
Sorry.
that?
No, he writes the lyrics.
So what are your musical backgrounds for each and every one of you?
Jordan, go ahead. You're
You
the
should probably start with that.
Well, I started with middle school band, so I learned how to read music, and then shortly after that, I started hanging around with, the music crowd, and picked up the guitar, that sort of thing. Was in the jazz band, and then it just sort of, after school, I just sort of kept up with music. I was always, jamming out, making music. At this point, we haven't done any completely new music since I've joined. I joined recently in 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
Past few months, but it's working. It's working out. I think I'm still learning the ropes. But yeah,
You'll get. Do you feel like you'll contribute later on? More?
Yeah.
I think
I
he's
think so.
already doing it.
Yeah, he picked up the songs pretty quick, and we've jammed out a couple times, and things seem to work. So pretty much the old formula that we got, just getting together and just writing the music together. I think it's going to work out very well with the guy.
And, well, Leo and myself have been playing together for, like he mentioned before, for about, I don't know, a bunch of years.
Yeah.
And we've been on different bands. And before that, I used to play in punk bands in Mexico. And I've been making noise since I was a kid. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it
counts?
does, man.
Okay. All right.
Oh, what's it like playing punk rock in Mexico? Different than the U.S.?
Yeah, for one, it's in Spanish. No, it's punk rock is the same everywhere. It's just, the feeling, the spirit of punk rock is the same everywhere. But of course, there's particular nuances on every. Even here, like if you go to a different city, you can tell there's different stylistic elements or aesthetic elements. But punk rock in Mexico is awesome.
I feel like it's a lot bigger in Mexico than it is in the United States. I've seen shows, people playing stadiums, bands like the Ramones, the Dictators, all over Latin America. Is it like that in Mexico?
Well, it depends on the band. The classics are the classics. Things that come from elsewhere are more popular than what you have around the corner, unfortunately. So in Mexico, yeah, if you can see huge Metallica concerts or whatever, but local bands struggle just like anywhere else. Leo, you want to add something?
Punk music, or honestly, punk music is relatively new for me. I didn't grow up with it. It's been something that I've slowly been turned on to in the last 5 years, and my background's more like into rock and roll and pop music, but punk falls into the rock and roll element. It's just that in the last 5 years, that's where I got turned on to it, because a lot of the early punkers, didn't know how to play, and that's an appealing thing for me. Someone that just has the need, the desire to make music, and doesn't have the background, musical background or training, and they just figure it out. And something that I respect. A lot of people kind of downplay punk music because of that, but I think it's awesome. It's very very raw and very honest. And
Yes.
Yeah, it's a strength. It's not a
Yeah.
weakness.
yeah, it's a strength. Yeah, definitely.
Creatively, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think of all the bands that are just inspired. I mean, that were inspired by bands like the Ramones that
Yeah, of
played
course.
3 chords and then they grew into something so much more. People like Sonic Youth, and I am not a Guns N' Roses fan. They started out as a punk band and then they grew into whatever the hell they are.
Well, the first Appetite for Destruction was pretty punk rock.
Oh yeah, they started out as a cover band, playing
Yeah.
songs by the Dead Boys,
I-
Ramones.
Oh yeah, I still like that first album by Guns N' Roses. The rest of it is kind of crap. But yeah, I mean, the first wave of punk rock, it became the new classics. You can put it up there with all those Led Zeppelin, even Beatles or whatever. All those classic bands that you listen to in the radio. You can now you listen to the Ramones or Sex Pistols on the radio, which is pretty insane. And like now it became part of mainstream.
It blew up.
Yeah, well, which is fine with me.
You are listening to 88.7 WLUW Chicago. We are playing a pre-recorded interview with Fast Decay, and we're going to listen to some more Fast Decay music right now. Yeah, the songs you just heard before, they're unreleased, and they're called Make Believe. So that was the last song. Never before that. Plans before that, and Demon Paul before that. This next song coming up is called Need.